This week, Jimmy the Geek chats to Lionhead Studios about Fable Legends. Phil Robb from Turtle Rock tells us all about the latest from Evolve, and I explore the game-making possibilities inside Disney Infinity 2.0. This is Player Attack. Hi, I'm Jessica Citizen, and I have spent most of the past week playing The Sims 4. The game's launch went smoothly for those of you who were concerned about a repeat of EA's SimCity disaster. A Day 1 patch was issued shortly after the game hit shelves, tidying up a bunch of bugs ranging from the somewhat amusing fork incident to the game-killing issue that saw the game pushed into a non-responsive state if you tried to go on a date with the Reaper. Some Sims 4 players soon started reporting a bug that wasn't fixed in the patch, however. It seems that for some gamers, the pixelated cloud that pops up when a sim uses the toilet or has a shower had started growing, not stopping until it had covered the entire screen. Fans who encountered this mosaic bug took to the game's forums, complaining and looking for a solution. Turns out the only way to fix that particular bug was to buy a legitimate copy of the game. EA and Maxis had included the pixelized effect as a way of preventing piracy, and from the number of people we've seen looking for a fix, it seems it worked. In other news, Australian gamers are in line to receive an uncut version of one of the titles that was notoriously refused classification before we were given an R18 adults only rating more than 18 months ago. Valve has officially resubmitted the original Left 4 Dead 2, effectively banned from display or sale back in 2009, and this time around it's received the expected R18 stamp of approval. We don't quite know what Valve will do with the game now that it's legitimately allowed to be released, sold and played in Australia, but the publisher has told us that it is making plans to deliver the uncut version to fans who purchased the censored one. In less great news, Nintendo has confirmed the inevitable. The new 3DS handhelds will, of course, be region locked. We didn't really expect anything else from the company, but President Satoru Iwata has explained that the company doesn't see the lock as a restriction, instead acknowledging that Nintendo is required to do different things in different parts of the world, so it's easier just to keep the consoles separate. And speaking of Nintendo and its new hardware, we still don't have a confirmed date for the launch of the company's Amiibo figurines, but we do know that they will be sold for just over £10 when they launch in the UK. That's about $20 Australian or 17-ish in the US. Remember, those prices will likely change by region, but it is a reasonable price point to start with. Now, we've got Phil Robb from Turtle Rock telling us all about Evolve a little later in the show, but if you want to jump in the big alpha test for the game, there's one on the way real soon now. Head to the game's Twitter or Facebook pages or to the Turtle Rock forums and sign up. That way, you'll get more details as they become available. Moving on to sports entertainment, and WWE superstar CM Punk walked out on his wrestling contract back in January, sometime after the team at 2K Sports decided on a storyline for WWE 2K15 that focuses pretty heavily on Punk's rivalry with John Cena. Now, Punk has reportedly sent the WWE a 22-page letter asking for his share of royalties from the upcoming release of the game, despite being well out of contract. That one's gonna get messy. The game also features disgraced wrestler Alberto Del Rio, who was recently fired from the WWE after unprofessional conduct. In quick news, Rise, Son of Rome has shaken off that Xbox One exclusive tag and is headed to PC on October 10, with the team at Crytek proudly announcing that it will be shipping in ultra-high-def 4K resolutions for gamers with the appropriate hardware. And headed our way a little earlier than that, hopefully, is some new story DLC for Watch Dogs, with Ubisoft announcing Bad Blood is scheduled to hit PC, PS3, PS4, Xbox 360 and Xbox One later this month. Focusing on hacker Raymond Kenny, known to his friends as T-Bone, this one is still set in Chicago, despite hints that the game would be headed to Camden, New Jersey. Ubisoft has also made mobile gamers happy, slashing the price of Assassin's Creed Pirates for mobile devices. You can now pick up the standalone offering for free on both iOS and Android and enjoy the new chapter appendix that sends your pirates up to the Arctic Circle. Sony is also delving into the mobile market, announcing a new platform survival game, Run, Sackboy, Run! This time around, the popular Little Big Planet character must rush through Craftworld trying to outrun the Negativitron, the big nasty vacuum cleaner that sucks up all the creativity. Run Sackboy Run is out in October for iOS, Android and PlayStation Vita. And finally this week, Tokyo Game Show kicks off on September 18 and we are being drip-fed little bits and pieces of what to expect. One thing that has horror fans very excited is news of Resident Evil Revelations 2, which Capcom has confirmed will take centre stage. With a storyline that fits in between Resident Evils 5 and 6, we are told to expect the return of Claire Redfield and the introduction of new character Moira Burton, daughter of Barry Burton, who starred in the original Resident Evil. And in case you are concerned, we are told that the game will return to the series' survival horror roots. It's okay. For more information on any of these stories, or to keep up to date with the latest gaming news, head to playerattack.com. But for now, stick around, got plenty more still to come.
Enter Hero. Brave, noble, capable of self-narration.
Jimmy the Geek here with Jeff Smith, executive producer for the upcoming Fable Legends. One of the coolest things about the demo that we saw in the presentation was the idea that you could not only play as one of the 4 characters, but also as the enemy. Can you go into a little bit of detail about that for us?
Sure, the villain mode is, I think we consider one of our innovations for this title. I think it came about right at the beginning when we were thinking we want a cooperative Fable, and we were playing as 4 heroes. We thought, wouldn't it be cool to play against someone? So we invented this villain mode, who basically masterminds the entire operation. And that villain has at his powers, he is able to coordinate and control all the creatures that he has, all the traps, mines and totems, and he looks at the game in a totally different view from the heroes. So he's playing in an RTS style, top-down view, and he has total control over what happens to those heroes.
And can you tell me a little bit about the heroes? Who are they? What do they do?
Okay, well, we've got a number of heroes here at E3 right now. We've got 6 of them. The 4 that were shown at the Microsoft keynote were Inga, who's a tank, a kind of protector character. We've got Sterling, who's a Prince Charming, a melee attacker. We've got Rook, who is a ranged damage dealer, very effective crossbow wielder. And Winter, who's Queen of Magic, if you like, but she deals in frost and freezing enemies, which takes their powers right down. All these heroes have multiple abilities, and they all dovetail and work together, and it's very important that the heroes work as a team in order to succeed and beat the villain.
Is there a single-player mode?
Sure, so in fact we're quite keen that when you start the game, you start as single player. And basically, if you don't want to play multiplayer, you don't have to. You would simply AI would simply take over for all the other roles. So you could play as one hero against a villain AI and go about with 3 other hero AIs. We want to be able to enjoy it single player or multiplayer.
It sounds very Dungeons and Dragons, with the idea that someone is controlling the world above them. Is there a story? Is there a plot for these heroes to follow?
There is. We've got a narrative running throughout what we're calling a season. So we've got a season of quests that we're making right now. You're seeing just 10 minutes of one. They're usually about 30 minutes long, and they all have objectives. It's not just villain versus hero. There are narrative objectives that the heroes must try and achieve to progress through the story. Like any Fable, it's got to be more than just fighting, and there's a lot of Fable in it, and one of those big parts is a narrative. So, yeah, it's very important to us.
Have you had much of a response from the community about this? What are people saying about what's going on here?
I think people are very excited. It's very exciting to see something new, you know. Some very excited about the villain mode, without a doubt, and the ability to play lots of different heroes. The other thing they noticed, because you know we're still a Fable game, this is very much set in Albion, is to our mind it's a very beautiful looking Albion. It's very lush, it's very verdant, and we've still got the humour of Fable. So a lot of Fable fans, you know, they love the humour, the silliness that we try and bring to the game, and that's very much still there.
You mentioned that this was called a season. Does that mean that there might be another season down the line, or? There
may be, yeah. At the moment we're just moving into production. So we've packaged up the first season, if you like, into a number of quests. But I hope we will make more and more quests as time goes on. How many we release with, we're not talking about release dates here, is still to be decided. Yeah, we want a big experience that is truly AAA and very next gen.
Have you decided maybe letting players customize these characters at all?
Sure, yeah, no, you certainly can. So Fable has always been very good about customizing heroes, and when we thought, right, we've got multiple heroes, what does that mean for us in customization? But you can change it. You can change skin, hair, and tones around the face, but you can change also body armor, and you can change head armor if you like as well. But characters level up. So it's not just a case you play a hero, he doesn't develop. He will develop. Every quest that he wins, the XP that he earns from killing creatures, levels up through his weapons, through potions, ability to take more damage, etc., etc. So we're hoping there's a good longevity of the gameplay in Fable Legends.
If I want to play this game, what do I need to have at home?
So to have at home, you need to have an Xbox One and an Xbox Live account. In fall, there'll be a closed beta, which we hope a lot of people will sign up to. And then we'll basically, it's a multiplayer beta. It'll be a full set of quests, probably 2, maybe 3, that we get people playing, and they give us feedback about the game, and we can develop it further.
The journey of a true hero is not written for him. It's forged by the choices he makes and the worlds he creates.
We are talking Disney Infinity 2.0, and today in particular we've been checking out some amazing game-making possibilities that are now inside the toy box. Can you tell us a little bit about them?
Yeah, so one of the big points of feedback we got from our community was that they wanted building and creating in the toy box to be easier, faster, and more detailed, and we've added a wealth of toys to make this possible. We now have the creator and builder toys that let you procedurally generate content in the toy box very, very quickly. So in addition to being able to build, say, a castle or a racetrack out of all the pieces in the toy box, we can now create those things procedurally and build these random large racetracks and castles. We also have a whole wealth of new toys to help you publish your games. We have toys that will let you name them and share them and turn on and off different pieces of the user interface to really create the experience that you as a game maker are trying to create.
So because this is Disney, it's not going to be just a simple matter of just hitting a castle button and then a castle just magically appears. There is some magic involved, isn't there?
Well, sure. And we give the players a certain amount of control as well. So, I as a player can select, I want a castle that's roughly this dimension, that's this style, go, and then the game will generate that. And I can continue to edit what the game has generated. It isn't just a prefab thing that I can't touch.
But also there are little people that can help you building these castles.
There's also that. So in addition to the creators that automatically kind of place the pieces, we have the builder characters. And the builders are great because they build out different types of gameplay over time. We have platforming builders and rail grind builders and pirate town builders. And they'll all build around each other and around whatever you are doing. So they'll kind of be at work while you're at work.
These castles that you're building, you can actually go inside them. Can you talk really quickly about that?
Yeah, so for the first time we have what we call toy box interiors, and these are a toy box like any other toy box that you can build and create anything you like, but now we've got interior rooms that you can decorate with bits and pieces that you've earned throughout playing the game and a few you've unlocked other ways. So you can decorate a space to kind of reflect who you are and also show off a lot of your progress and things you've accomplished in the game. So you can invite your friends in and show them, look at all these things I unlocked and earned because I played so much of Disney Infinity. And you do still have all of the Creativa toys in the interiors, so you can use this as a gameplay space where you can make it your own dungeon crawler or your own superhero lair complete with booby traps and stuff if you want to.
In the past, people might have created a toy box and it might have been an awesome game, and then someone just comes in and just ruins the whole lot the moment that they set foot in the toy box. How have you worked to prevent that from happening?
Right. We took sort of, in the past, as you say, you had to have kind of these house rules for how everyone was going to play, right? It's like, okay, we're going to run through this game I've built and nobody gets to use any vehicles because it would wreck everything. And now we have the ability with like our Toy Box Game Maker toy to specifically state, during this game, you can't use the magic wand, you can't use power discs, you can't use vehicles, and all those other kind of inner workings that make it so that your game will run exactly the way you want and that nobody can break it.
And how can you convey these rules to people? Do they just have to work it out when they get there and go, oh, there's no magic wand?
Well, now, for the first time in Disney Infinity 2.0, we have text tools. You can write your own text, and you can use text to describe what's going on, and we also have a whole suite of camera tools where you can show off your level, you can create introductions and cutscenes to introduce exactly how your game is played.
So this is potentially the start of Disney Infinity Machinima.
I would sincerely hope so, yes. We've definitely tried to make life easier on those who are trying to make things like Machinima than before. We've got many different kinds of cameras that give you specific angles and targets, and now you can fix the cameras in place or allow them to freely follow targets, and you can swing and fade and do all this kind of video production style stuff all within the toy box. I mean, one of my favorite toys that's in the toy box, it's called the remote controller, but it allows you to remap all of the buttons on your controller to do anything you want. So we're no longer restricted to avatar-based gameplay. We can build a pinball machine and have the triggers flip the flippers and the buttons launch the balls and everything without having, Mr. Incredible or Spider-Man in the case of Disney Infinity 2 have to do anything.
And this is also the sort of thing where you can put down this template and go, right, okay, I can see how that works, and then you can change it to make it what you want.
Yeah, we think they're a great starting point for players to kind of learn the way things work, but yes, you can tinker with them and edit them and delete pieces and add pieces and do whatever you want with kind of this starting point that we've given the player.
One of the things, of course, that people love most about Disney Infinity is the wide range of characters that are coming out with the game. Can you tell us who we can look forward to playing?
Sure. So we have the Guardians of the Galaxy cast associated with the new film. We have all 5 of them. We also relatively recently announced Aladdin and Jasmine. We also have Donald Duck coming for those that are fans of classic characters.
What's in that direction?
Evolve is a 4 versus 1 cooperative competitive shooter set on a sci-fi world called Sheer, where basically four people cooperate as hunters to hunt and bring down a giant alien monster who just happens to be controlled by another player.
It's here.
We've already introduced Goliath, who was he's a very in-your-face, very sort of easy to grasp kind of monster. He smashes, he throws giant rocks, he breathes fire. The Kraken is a very different beast. He can fly. He's not nearly as much of a brawler as the Goliath is, but he's more of a ranged guy, right? So he's got a lot of ranged attacks. So yeah, he can kind of float around. He's pretty sneaky because when he's floating, he's not leaving tracks. So that's cool. So it makes him a little harder to find. And yeah, he uses lightning as his main source of damage, right? He's got a lightning attack. He basically pulls up a giant lightning bolt out of the ground and zaps anyone close by. And he's got Banshee mines. Which basically he just lays them down, and people walk past them and they explode and do damage. So he can set traps for the hunters as well. Got all kinds of cool stuff. He's a neat monster. So we've already met Markov. Markov's the assault character. We've met Val, who is the medic. We've met Hank, who is our support, and we've met Griffin, who is the trapper. These new guys, you know, same classes. We've got Hyde, who is our new assault character. He's a crass, you know, up in your face, kind of, you know, just balls out bastard, you know. Hyde's my favorite. He's just, you know, he gets up in the monster's face. His flamethrower has the shortest range of any of the weapons in the game, but does the most damage. So his thing is getting up in front of the monster and, you know, laying waste. Our new support character is named Bucket. Bucket is a robot. Bucket has a ton of personality. He's also a big favorite. He can do a lot of cool things. One, he can pull his head off and fly it around the map as a UAV. He can open up his belly and pull out sentry guns. They kind of just, you know, he throws them out and they unfold into these, like, so he's really good at setting up kill zones for the monster, you know, that the monster doesn't want to go into. We've got Lazarus, who is our new medic. Lazarus is very different from Val, whereas Val was very sort of straightforward, point and heal. Lazarus, as his name suggests, brings people back from the dead, right? So he's not very good at healing, like say on the fly, but once somebody goes down and is dead, he can bring them back, and they don't, like, you know, take the normal penalties that you take for, like, being incapped or killed. And then last, but certainly not least, we have Maggie, our new trapper. Maggie is very cool because she's got a pet trapjaw. Trapjaws are sort of the like native, sort of like hyenas, you know, but they're native to Sheer. It's basically like a big horse-sized lizard dog. That's the best way I can describe it. But Daisy's really good at tracking. Right? She helps the team track in that she doesn't necessarily have to follow prints. She can sort of, you know, take the shortest route to the monster. Also, if the monster is sneaking and not leaving tracks, Daisy can still sort of, you know, she puts her nose to the ground and sniffs him out and finds him. We started out as 10 guys, yeah, in like 2 years we grew to 80 something, you know, and I think people are still saying that's a small studio, which to me that's like an ungodly number of people. But yeah, I mean, it's been cool. I've learned a lot. You know, I mean, this is Chris and I's first go at running a business. We have a development background, so you know, there's been a lot to learn. It's a little, you know, it's pretty crazy, you know, because you don't really have to worry about just yourself anymore, right? You've got all these guys, you know, that work at the studio that are counting on you to make the right decisions and choices, and you know, so that's been an interesting challenge. Yeah, I mean, you know, but it's all good. Yeah, we can do it.
Oh boy, this is gonna be a fight!
And that's about it for this edition of Player Attack. Thanks for watching. Next week, I try to put my feelings into words and explain the good, the bad, and the ugly about The Sims 4. And to balance that all out, Johnny Robot takes a look at Madden NFL 15. In the meantime, you can catch us on PlayerAttack.com. We're on Facebook, YouTube, and Twitter. And if you've got something you want to say, send us an email, mailbox@PlayerAttack.com, or just hop on our forums. Till next week, I'm Jessica Citizen, and this is Player Attack.